Nature always takes care of itself. Like I said, unmitigated expansion becomes volatile. So humanity has been unchecked, completely unchecked. And so what does nature do? It doesn't fight back. It just looks for balance. It's not like humans. Human psychology, we go from the one extreme to the other extreme. Nature goes for the middle ground, always. It doesn't need to wipe everything clear. It just goes, okay, how do we get to something that's sustainable? So nature looking for something sustainable. The first wave was sociopolitical. The second wave was catastrophic. The third wave was physical. And so sociopolitical would be war after war after war, political wars. The second wave, the catastrophic wave, was natural disaster after natural disaster after natural disaster, talking about pointing out instability. And those natural disasters were hitting more and more populated areas instead of the remote areas that are actually more susceptible to it. You okay, if there's a city that's on a fault line, you're taking a chance living there. But then we started to have earthquakes in the middle of Alberta. We're nowhere near a fault line. And yet there were earthquakes. And it's like, what were the earthquakes caused by?
Probably fracking.
Exactly. So people drilling in and unsustained practices that were not compensated for with a structure of support. And so then a natural occurrence is happening by unnatural means, and that's nature correcting and pointing out the instability of a system. It's not attacking you, it's just pointing out the instability that needs to be supported or corrected. And then the physical is attacking the physical entities. So disease, illness. With humanity, the reason that humanity's growth curve was, it's never really sustainable, but it was digestible for so long is because disease and war took care of the population curve. And now every time a great disease pops up that it would call the population, our medical side just kicks in and takes care of that, and not only addresses, okay, how do we not let this take us, but how do we actually extend natural life too? So then the normal dying off process isn't even happening. And so we're extending life and compensating for a lack of quality of life and building more and more into the preservation instead of sustaining. It's one thing to sustain life, it's another thing to preserve life. And what we've moved into is not sustaining and maintaining quality of life. We've moved into preserving things that are no longer viable. And that's where nature goes, okay, so only one way left to do this. And so subtle.
Poetic, almost.
Yeah. To go subtle is the only way to do it. I've pointed out to several people, it's like we're reacting to what's happening with this particular virus. But we have several diseases in the world, not only just diseases, also just like things that come out of our society, like accidents and but we have several diseases available in the world right now, and ailments available in the world right now that kill more people than this on a yearly basis. And yet we're freaking out about this one particular one. But there are other ones that do the exact same thing, and we barely protect ourselves against them. And so the reaction to what's happening is disproportionate. I'm not saying we're doing too much. I'm not saying I don't agree with the protocol that's happened in place. I'm just saying it's disproportionate to what we are used to witnessing in our own reality. Human beings are not reacting in a consistent way to things they see all the time.
So why do you think there's a disproportionate reaction to it?
Demonization.
Pardon me?
Demonization. They are demonizing it. We are looking for an enemy. And we've become so accustomed and desensitized to the regular enemies that are no longer working that we needed a new one. And so we demonize it. Like I said, viruses, diseases, indiscriminate. It's not personal. It's not attacking you. It answered your prayer. It gave you the space, and it gave you the things that you asked for. It didn't look exactly like you wanted it to, but nothing was ever going to, because every time somebody or something tried to hand you the answer to what you're asking for, you found another reason to dismiss yourself from the responsibility. So it's like, okay, full stop. Can't wiggle your way out of this one. So look at yourself. You can't look at anybody else because you're in isolation, but
it's forcing people to see who they are.
Yeah, except they're not looking, is what I was saying before.
What I find
I hope that people do take that opportunity.
It is a beautiful invitation. Like, this is the perfect time to take up a practice.
It is.